Carrie back again with another First Chapter Friday. Once again, I gotta remind people who may not know, I am the teen young adult librarian. So some of the books that I might present might be skewed a little more toward the older end of the youth services. This is not an exception this week because Halloween is coming up, and this is my chance to read a first chapter from a great Halloween type book. So, the cliche is old. The teenagers at camp and something is going horribly, horribly wrong, right? In this book, it's a little bit different in that it's not happy summer camp, it's in the winter, and it's a weight loss camp. The main character of this story is just wonderfully, wonderfully funny. Imagine Dumpling, the book, if you will, by Julie Murphy. Just a great example of body positivity, and she's being sent to Camp Featherlight against her will by her mother and her mother's new husband. And this camp is very, very, very just as bad as Vivian expected, only in different ways than she expected. The name of the book is Eat Your Heart Out by Kelly Devos. Some of the editors described it as Shaun of the Dead meets Dumpling. And they're not wrong. That's why I made the comparison before. Just the attitude, the sharp wit and everything in that main female character who is not going to be made to feel ashamed of how she looks. She likes how she looks, regardless of what the people around her who think they know better about how she ought to look, regardless of what they might say. And this camp immediately presents with a level of secrecy. Something's strange about this closely guarded special diet. And then a camper dies. And then the undead start to swarm the camp. And Vivian and a band of thrown together, however reluctantly, allies are at risk now of being eaten by the athletic and physically fit undead, as she puts it. But they're not going to go down without a fight. So I'm going to present first, there's a little bit of a prologue and then the first chapter. The book starts. What role are you auditioning for today? Action Girl, aka Final Girl. What role are you auditioning for today? Action Girl, aka Final Girl or the Resourceful Heroine. Odds of survival, 100%. Action Girl is who we all want to be. That fearless butt kicker, who we all imagine ourselves to be. We need our Clarice Starlings, Ellen Ripleys, Donna Chamberses, and Laurie Strodes. Action Girl will survive. She has to. The basket case. Odds of survival, 0%. The girl who cries too much, or screams too much, or feels too much, or falls apart too much. The cheerleader, the social media star, sometimes the main character's best friend. Secretly, the audience is wondering, will this chick die already? The group is typically better off without her. The courageous captain. Odds of survival, 0%. He's the guy who can somehow get everyone to cooperate. He leads everyone to safety. But everything comes at a price. The captain always goes down with the ship. The jock. Odds of survival, 50 to 75%. This one could go either way. Jocks can be major dicks. If the jock makes too many boob jokes, expect him to get his head ripped off. The jock with a heart of gold has a decent shot. He's easy to like and to root for. He might make it. The jerk. Odds of survival, 10%. Everyone loves seeing jerks get what they deserve. The jerk will only survive if he undergoes a huge character transformation, or if he's portrayed by a big-time A-list actor. The nerd. Odds of survival, 50%. Let's face it, nerds have essential abilities. They hack computers and read maps and pick locks. Every team needs a nerd. But nerds might bite it if they're no longer needed, or if they're especially likable and their death would tug at the heartstrings. The outcast. Odds of survival, unknown. The dark horse, the unpredictable loner, the bookish weirdo, the kid no one knows or understands. Outcasts keep their skills hidden. Their power is that you don't know what they know. They might have the skills to survive. In the next few hours, one of three things will happen. 1, we'll be rescued. Unlikely. 2, we'll freeze to death. Maybe. 3, we'll be eaten by thin and athletic zombies. Odds, excellent. I guess it's possible there'd be some kind of miracle. But if a divine intervention was forthcoming, you'd think it would have happened already. All but 5 of us are either dead or down below in the mindless, flesh-eating horde. Oh yeah, and the pregnant girl's about to give birth. So there's that. I'm not even sure I deserve to live. Allie is dead. Because of me. How did I get here? How did we end up on the roof of Dr. Frankenstein's creepy laboratory at Camp Featherlight for overweight teens during the worst snowstorm that Flagstaff, Arizona has seen in 100 years? I keep thinking about my mom and those 4 little words. Sweetheart, I'm getting married. Focus. Vivian Ellenshaw. My worst nightmare lurked on the welcome mat. Coach Haynes just would not leave, and that was the first clue that something was changing. Going wrong. My mom was busy. That was the defining characteristic of her personality. She was busy inspecting franchises of Pied Piper Pizza, busy writing reports, busy telling Maria, our housekeeper, that the roast was too salty or that the linen napkins needed to be pressed, busy posting vacation pics on social media to make sure everyone thought her life was perfect. So, when Mom lingered near the red door with Coach, her hand hovering above the crystal knob, giggling, touching her face with her other hand, it was more than gross. It was a problem. I tried to tell Mom that there's something weird about a guy who wants to go to work at an all-girls Catholic high school, but she wouldn't hear it. Somebody has to work there. It's a job, and somebody has to do it, she said with one of her mom looks. A frown and an arched eyebrow and lips pressed flat that, all working together, said, I know everything and you know nothing. The van's here, Mom called from downstairs. What I knew was that Coach Haynes hated fat people in general and hated me specifically. After I was elected captain of the soccer team, he held a secret meeting without me and tried to get the other girls to choose someone who better represents the school's athletic ideals. Too bad for him that our team is very, very cool. They took another vote and stuck with me. And that was seriously the right choice because despite what Coach might think, I rule St. Mary's. My soccer team fundraisers keep the protein bars and Gatorade freely flowing and make sure we usually get an air-conditioned bus to the matches. A huge advantage when you live in Phoenix and it's so hot out that you feel like you're running on the surface of the sun. Blue mathlete ribbons cover an entire wall in my room. I hate to brag, but let's just say that it's not a party until I show up. More than that, my body size is none of his business. Of course they got married. Coach Haynes moved from his crappy little post-divorce studio apartment into our place. I did a pretty good job pretending the whole thing didn't bother me. When Mom replaced me in the wedding with Coach's skinny sister, it hurt. I told everyone that the wedding was way gauche, that Mom's orange sherbet color palette was awful, and that I was glad to avoid the horror of being dressed up like an oversized ice cream cone. I told people I didn't care that Coach made snide comments about my weight and that my mom did nothing to stop it. But it bothered me. The whole thing bothered me a lot. Maria knocks softly on my door, and a second later, the old Polish woman pokes her gray-haired head into my room. She's carrying my favorite red hoodie. The van's here, she says. She places the sweatshirt on top of the duffel bag nearest to the door. Okay, I say. She gives me a grim smile. Maybe it will be nice. They say it might snow. Maybe. She frowns, sighs, and her shoulders slump. She could have had her pick of 1,000,000 men. She only has one child. I fake a smile. It's fine. The last 6 months have not been fine. Maria takes the bag shaped like a giant watermelon slice, and I carry the one covered with unicorns. Together, we march down the stairs. She stops in front of Mom's collection of artfully arranged vases with her arms held out for a hug. I feel like the Jolly Green Giant's illegitimate daughter towering over the tiny old woman. Her arms can't reach all the way around my back. Maybe it will be nice, she says again. Looking as composed as an Instagram post, Mom waits in the satin-upholstered armchair near the door. She snaps her copy of World Traveler magazine shut and rises, her velvet robe barely touching the marble tile floor. Of course it will be nice, she says, with a huge, cheerful smile. I mean, it should be for what we're paying. Did you check the brochure? It's a resort. They've got a private lake, an indoor swimming pool, guided nature walks, yoga, a vegan dietitian. All the movie stars send their kids. The governor sent his own daughter last spring, and she... Sigh. Thanks to Coach, I'll be spending my winter break at the world's fanciest fat camp. How are fat camps even still a thing? Don't they belong in a museum with inflatable dartboards, Flobies, and thigh masters? I open the door and the cool winter morning air hits my face. I mean, I guess it's morning. It's before 6 and barely light outside. Mom keeps talking. We're lucky the camp had a few cancellations due to the weather. Thankfully, I was able to get all the paperwork done in time. And this session, they're testing out a brand new weight loss bar. Just think, you could... I step outside and the heavy red door swings closed. It immediately reopens. Aren't you forgetting something? I make my way down the grand walk without turning back to her. Nope, Maria did all my laundry and got me all packed. You know what I mean. I hear the light pitter of designer slippers behind me. Hello, where's my hug? Pushing my arms into my hoodie, I say, my ride's here. As I approach the white van with the Camp Featherlight logo splashed on its side, a guy about my age emerges from the driver's door. He jerks his chin in my direction, takes my bags, and moves toward the back of the van. I hold on to my red hoodie. Mom steps in front of me before I can grab the door handle. I know you think you don't want to go, but Brad's an expert. He's done a ton of research about health and weight issues and self-esteem. You'll be a lot healthier and much happier. Someone should research what having Coach antagonize you every morning at breakfast does to your self-esteem. I fold my arms across my chest. Coach knows that I come to practice every morning and do the drills the same as every other girl, and I pass my physical with flying colors. I'm happy the way I am. If you really cared about me, you would be happy too. The beefcake guy returns and ducks around Mom to open the door himself. Mom scowls. For God's sakes, V, could you please stop calling him Coach? His name is Brad. She glances toward the house. Wait a sec. He was coming out to say goodbye. The van's here, I say in the same sing-song voice she used. I climb inside the open door and basically fall into a seat in the front row. Mom sighs. Someday you'll understand that I only want what's best. I reach out to close the door. For you and Coach. Have a nice life, I tell her as it slams shut. The guy in the front seat seems to have a pretty good read on things. I catch a glimpse of his blue eyes in the rear view, and it's like he kind of gets it. Also, he smells like Irish Spring soap. He puts the van in gear and steps on the gas. I stare straight ahead and don't look at Mom as we leave our house behind. The scene is over. For a second, I'm relieved. It's quiet in the van, and I've got some time to compose myself, to tell myself that I'll enjoy spending my break with a bunch of perfect strangers whose big bodies are also a big inconvenience to their parents. By the time we get to the next stop, I'll be that cool girl again. The smart one, the funny one, the one who always has a comeback, not this pathetic, sniffling loser. In another hour, maybe I'll have convinced myself that the whole thing was my idea. Like, I decided I'd rather run my ass off on a treadmill than have cocoa with Coach. Except I'm not alone in here. A high-pitched sneeze comes from the back of the van. I recognize it instantly, but I turn around anyway. Of course. It had to be. In the back seat, pressed all the way up against the frosted-over window, wrapped in a thick black scarf, Allison Dumond. Well, you'll find out who Allison is and what the connection there is. And you'll find out how it all shakes out. You check out the book. Kelly Devos, Eat Your Heart Out.